Now, all of this is a setup for the thing that I want to say right now. Truth is knowledge of things as they really are. And most of us don't know what we really are. Most of us are pretty good at rationalizing. This is the natural man and the natural woman in each of us. We'd like to think we're seen in a particular way. But to see ourselves as we are seen by others, things as they really are, is hard work. And it requires real spiritual capacity. Now, in this endeavor, developing ourselves and helping other people to develop, the single most important thing that a person can ever do is to pray that the Holy Ghost will help me see things as I really am. And I would admonish you to not offer that prayer casually. Don't do it simply because it's been mentioned here. But if you do it, you will see things as they really are, and it will be excruciatingly painful. And that's a part of what it takes to overcome the resistance to change that is a part of the natural man and the natural woman in each one of us. I recall, again at BYU, Idaho, then Elder Eyring, as the Commissioner of Church Education, had come and we had a series of meetings for a day. We were well into the transition of Ricks College to BYU, Idaho. Early in that process, we had identified certain resources in terms of people and square footage for buildings and so forth that would be needed for this transition. And we had presented that in a church education board meeting. It had been approved. Roger Christensen is a witness that this is true. Well, we had this meeting with Elder Eyring, and at the end of the day, he was spending the evening at our home. We walked to my car, we got in, and when we got into the car, he turned to me and said, "Your numbers are wrong. We've never agreed to this amount of money, or this amount of square footage, or this number of people." I said, "Elder Eyring, I'm not trying to argue with you here, but I'm not crazy. I didn't just kind of launch off and say, well, here's what I think we ought to do. We brought this to the board. It was approved. We have minute entries." He says, "No, your recollection of that is wrong." I said, "President Eyring, if you want us to dial back, we will. But that means tomorrow you and I have to go to a press conference that we'll sit up here in Rexburg and tell the world that this is going slower than we've told everybody. And we're good with that. But it's gonna be news to some folks, and we just have to gird up our loins and tell them that." Well, through the evening, we had dinner and we talked, and the next morning, Elder Eyring came up for breakfast. And he didn't even say hello. He said, "President Bednar, I was rebuked by the Holy Ghost last night. And your recollection is accurate, and mine was inaccurate. So what you identified as the resources for square footage and people going forward is right. We won't make a change." I think that is one of the greatest lessons I've ever seen. For this member of the Quorum of the 12 to be that modest and humble. And when he got all done, he then said this to me. He said, "President Bednar, if you haven't been rebuked by the Holy Ghost lately when you pray, then you need to improve your prayers."